Join us as we focus on extraordinary Catholic people, the Catholic life. Zoom in on unique Catholic places, the Catholic experience, and take a snapshot of local Catholic events, Catholic happenings. The Living Bread Radio Network presents Catholic Close-Up, with Michael Roberts. We'll introduce you to people, places, and events that are shaping our Catholic culture today. And now, here's Michael Roberts with today's edition of Catholic Close-Up.
Well, if you recall, several weeks ago, we had an interview with Father Nicholas Mancini, our spiritual advisor, about the Padre Pio group of Canton, and something that is new and really just getting started here in the Canton area. But this time around, we're going to talk about the Padre Pio group of Cleveland, which has been around a little bit longer. And Cindy Russo is on the phone with us. She is the group leader of the Padre Pio prayer group of Cleveland, and she's going to tell us more. Cindy, thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
So, we talk about Padre Pio, and, you know, when we talk about the saints, I think it's probably safe to say that Padre Pio is one of those most well-known saints in the calendar. Would you agree?
Yes, and he's from our era. Mm-hmm. He really, he's a saint that has been around while we were alive, which is amazing.
It is, yeah, and he's got quite a story, as we know about the history of him and his contributions, of course, to the church and what he has done for the church and for the faith. So tell us a little bit about the Padre Pio group and how, I guess, it kind of follows the life and the legacy, if you will, of Padre Pio.
Well, actually, our group, this is our 50th anniversary.
Wow. Congratulations.
Our group started in 1969 by a beautiful sister named Sister Jean Marie Gloriosa. She's deceased now. But she started this group at Our Lady of Lourdes Shrine in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And when she was called back to her motherhood, the mother house in PA, she gave it to someone else, who gave it to someone else, who gave it to someone else. And then I accepted the position, not knowing what I was getting into. There was probably about 40 or 50 members. They were going to the Assumption Church in Broadview Heights, and they asked me to take it over. And it was Abbot Christopher Schwartz, and he said, you are going to grow this group. It's going to get so big that you're going to probably have to move it again.
Wow.
And that's exactly what happened. We moved to St. Barnabas Church, and we are now 685 members.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
It's amazing, especially because, I didn't have a clue. I really didn't know. But I just continually count on the Holy Spirit to guide us and Padre Pio, and he's done a very good job. All I have to do is listen and be obedient.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So how often do you guys meet as a group?
We meet the very first Saturday of the month, and we do that in honor of Our Lady. Mm-hmm. The Fatima devotion to meet the first 5 Saturdays of the month. And with it, we also have, we pray the rosary, we do a chaplet, we do Mass, we have confession. We always feed everybody. We feed people physically, and then we feed them spiritually.
Sure.
With the group, with the guest speaker. Someone will give witness or good news. Many, I call them God favors, have happened with our group praying with people.
Wow. I'm just so impressed by the numbers, Cindy. That is just absolutely remarkable to have a group like that with that many people. What is the age range of the people that are members of the group?
Well, we also have small children that come. Whenever they come, they're part of our procession to Our Lady at the offertory. We give her a bouquet of roses. And they go all the way up until probably 90. They're all ages. Yeah. We have seminarians who come back. We try to support the seminarians and encourage them. So whenever a seminarian will show up, we utilize their talents, and it's good practice for them to be able to speak in front of the group.
Yeah.
And 2 of our seminarians actually were members of our prayer group before they went into the seminary.
So that is really, really neat. It's always a fun thing to witness that as well. We're talking with Cindy Russo. She is the group leader of the Padre Pio Prayer Group of Cleveland, and absolutely remarkable, the numbers, the amount of people that are a part of this and that are truly fed by a group like this. And Cindy, what I like about it is, for all intents and purposes, it's not something that requires a huge commitment. It's once a month get together, but it's not something where you're meeting every single night or twice a week. It's really simple, I think, in those terms of just meeting once a month.
Correct. We're a family, and we always say that, familia. You come the first time, you're our guest. As soon as I introduce you to the group, you're part of the family.
Yeah, that is really neat. So, Cindy, let's talk.
Also, what's nice is we go on quite a few pilgrimages, and the group, the people who come on the pilgrimage, they form more inner bond of a family. So I could tell what family sort of by the pilgrimage where everyone sits, because they want more. And I think in this day and age, we are hungry. We're hungry for the truth, and we want more. I know for myself, I probably wasn't catechized correctly in the 60s, 70s. So just learning more and more about our faith and being comfortable with people who love Jesus. It's kind of an odd thing that you could really talk about God and be joyful and be prayerful as a group together.
Yeah, absolutely neat. Cindy Russo again is with us here. And so, Cindy, let's talk a little bit about Padre Pio and your relationship with him, because I know you have a very strong devotion to him. Tell our listeners a little bit about that and your experience.
My experience was in the fall of 2010. Actually, it's going to be my 9th anniversary. I was what you would say a lukewarm Catholic. And a relative called me to tell me that her great-grandson was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and was going to die. And my husband and I were going on a trip to Rome, to Spain, to France. And I said, well, I'm sure we're going to go to a lot of churches. Give me pictures of him, and we will put on the back of those pictures, please pray for Noah as he battles cancer. And so that's what we did. And when we got to Rome, I noticed there was a church. We were at the Trevi Fountain, and directly across, there was a church called St. Vincenzo in Anastasia. And I told my husband, I'll be right back. I'm going to go drop a picture off there and pray for Noah. And as I walked into the church with the stranger next to me, we opened those doors, and standing there was, at the time, I did not know. I thought maybe this is how the Italian priest dressed, but he had a robe and a beard and a rosary. And he looked at the stranger that was next to me, and in the nastiest, the dirtiest look, he kicked the man out of the church. And I thought, oh, I should not be here. And then he looked at me. And when he looked at me, all I could say is this fire, this electricity went through my body. And as it went up me, I witnessed every sin I had ever committed in my life. It was almost like a motion picture of my whole life. And I was so sorrowful and so sad. And I will say, sadly, I had not been to confession for over 20 years. So there was a lot to see. And I looked at the man, and I just started crying, and I handed him Noah's picture, and I said, please pray for Noah. He's very, very sick. And the man took my hands. He walked me over to a fountain. It was shaped like a shell, and he poured water over me. When he did, he, in 3 times, blessed me. In Italian, I understood every word he said. He blessed Noah's picture, put it in the robe, the pocket in the robe, and then he wiped my tears. And he told me in Italian, I do not speak the language, that not to cry, that Noah would be healed. Then he walked over to a table, and he handed me a holy card. And at the time, I did not know, but it was the Blessed Virgin Mary. It was a different image than I was used to seeing. I used to see Our Lady of Grace, Our Lady of Fatima. This was Madonna de Puzzo. And he told me to pray this. in Italian to pray this every day, Noah be healed. And I bowed, I said, grazie. I walked out of the church down to the fountain where my husband was, and my husband took one look at me and thought I fell in the fountain. I said, no, it was this man. I think he's a priest. I don't know. And my husband says, good, you needed this. So my husband at that moment knew something had happened to me. I didn't know what happened to me, but within a half hour, we stopped on a tour break, and we walked into a gift shop. And as we walked into the gift shop, standing on the left wall was a picture of the man that I seen. And I told my husband, that's the guy. And he said, it can't be. I said, that's the man who did this. Maybe he's a Monsignor here in Rome. And he said, no, Cindy, it's Padre Pio.
Wow.
And I didn't believe, because those things don't happen in this day and age. Those things happened in the books way back. And so I didn't believe. That was my biggest regret. I didn't get the picture. But the whole rest of the trip was just tears and sorrow and so sad. I was just so sad for what I had experienced in that church. I now know that is called the illumination of conscience. And I know that fire and electricity that went through me was this Holy Spirit, and that the tears that just flowed from my eyes of sadness was a gift from the Holy Spirit of tears, and my life has totally changed.
What a story. What a remarkable experience that was. And you have in turn then kind of devoted your life to Padre Pio in so many ways, and being a part of this group, spreading his message, and helping to bring others closer to Christ through him. Tell us a little bit about the intercession part of it, because I know you said that that Padre Pio is a very good intercessor, and I have heard that before. That's not news to me. But why do you feel that he is such a strong intercessor?
Well, number one, Noah was healed. He had no hope. Absolutely no hope. They gave him less than 2 or 3 months to live. Noah's now 12 years old, and I have a feeling he's going to end up being a priest.
Wow.
We have many relics of Padre Pio, and I pray with people after our gathering at the end. And then I get phone calls. I get many phone calls. In fact, last meeting we had, I call them good news stories. One man had inoperable tumor. I laid hands on him and I prayed with the relics. He came back to tell me that I felt the tumor move when I prayed with him. He told me he had the operation and he's fine. He's good. The good news, little children, I go to Akron General Hospital and I'll pray with them with the relics. And good. I mean, we have so many stories, and they just go on and on. The other thing that St. Pio does as an intercessor is he always puts me somewhere with his spiritual children. And they're usually sick or dying, but to find out after I get to meet these people that either they had a devotion of St. Pio, or their mother or father did, or their uncle did, or somebody did, because St. Pio said that he will take care of generation after generation if you are devoted to him.
Such a remarkable story, and stories rather, and just what an experience that you have been through. And I can certainly understand now why you have such a strong devotion to Padre Pio. How could you not, really, after a situation like that? We've been talking with Cindy Russo. She is the group leader of the Padre Pio Prayer Group of Cleveland. And Cindy, we're just about out of time, but if somebody is interested, maybe perhaps joining the Padre Pio group there of Cleveland, if they're up in that area, how can they get involved? How can they find out more?
Well, we have a website, www.padrepiocleveland.org. We meet always the very first Saturday at Our Lady of Guadalupe, 9080 Shepherd Road in Macedonia. And those are both really great ways to get in contact with us. We'll also have a special Mass on his feast day at 6:30 p.m. at Our Lady of Guadalupe. And then just recently, I happened to visit the shrine, the Sorrowful Mother Shrine, and after 10 minutes was invited by Father Kramer to come on October 13th. We're having a Padre Pio Day there because he had someone donate a statue of St. Pio, and
nice.
that he would like to have a dedication. We're going to have a Mass. And again, it's going to be an all-day event. I don't look for this. It always comes to me.
That's remarkable, isn't it? It's an amazing thing. Cindy Russo has been our guest here on Catholic Close-Up. Cindy, thanks again for the time, and thanks for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you, and God bless. And what Padre Pio always says, pray, hope, and don't worry.
Catch our first ever video-only series, The Power of the Bead, on our Living Bread Radio Facebook page and YouTube channel every Thursday at 3 p.m.
Well, the Thea Bowman Center is located in the southeast end of Cleveland and has quite a history of helping others. And if you know anything about the namesake of the organization, Sister Thea Bowman, you'll understand what their mission is. And we have Ella Thomas on the phone with us. She is the executive director of the Thea Bowman Center, and she's going to tell us more about the organization. Ella, welcome to Catholic Close-Up.
Thank you.
You guys have quite a history, I understand.
Yes. We've been around since for about 18 years, I think it is now.
Yeah.
2011, and as a nonprofit organization, actually the organization had a connection to the Epiphany Church doing the pantry for over 54 years. So we kind of picked up on that as a part of our ongoing programming with in the Thea Bowman Center.
Sure. So I guess when it's all said and done, all the years together, it has been quite a while, but just since 2001 as far as the center is concerned. So give us an overview. What do you guys do?
Okay, we basically are open 5 days a week, and our programs are health and wellness. We put a lot of emphasis on that, but a major part of that has to do with our connection with the food pantry, and that's kind of where we got started, serving close to 7,900 people a year.
Wow.
Providing food support to residents in the Mount Pleasant community. And out of that, we have evolved into doing some special programming with our senior population who comes to the food pantry but have some special needs that we thought that we would want to address, and again focusing on health and wellness and engaging them in activities that has to do with socialization, getting people out of the house, connecting them with resources as it relates to Medicaid, Medicare, insurance, because insurance policies and things change so frequently. We want to connect them with resources out there in the community that has to do with that. We have been connected with Fairhill Partners and have done some things around health and wellness in terms of maintaining people in their own homes, keeping on balance, doing exercises with them. They're very much involved in trips and things of that sort. So that's a pretty big picture of what we do under the health and wellness side, but also concerned about families as it relates to that as well. We also work with our family and children programs, having an after-school program for 25 to 30 kids that might show up. And during the summertime, we also do a summer program. Just had a wonderful summer program this year, engaging children in adventure and activities to help them to grow and learn throughout the summer. And then our other program is community education. Our GED program has been around for about 10 or 15 years, and we work with people to assist them in completing their education. And this year, for the last 2 years, we've been working with computer training. And we just recently, or coming up very soon, we'll start a new program working with computers and expanding the program to work more around a job readiness and helping people to have the computer skills that they need to get a job. A lot of our people who come have no clue about that, how to do that. And plus, this community is not internet accessible because, well, a lot of people can't afford it. So we are trying to provide some of those services here for people to get the training that they need.
Yeah.
And not only just learning the computer, but also learning how to write resumes and helping them to be prepared for the job market.
Wow.
So in a nutshell, I guess that's a big nut, I guess.
It is, yeah. It's
that we cover.
Sure, no, you have a lot going on, and it's beautiful. And you kind of just touched on this a little bit, but my next question was going to be to tell our listeners a little bit about the Mount Pleasant community of Southeast Cleveland. So you're bordering on Shaker Heights, but
Right.
you kind of alluded to this. Tell us a little bit more about this community and why it's necessary and what you guys are doing there.
Okay, Mount Pleasant, as I said, is on the southeast side of Cleveland. The population is about over 15,000, and we have 4 council people that we work with in this particular community. So we're covering a lot of territory for some of our councilmen who are part of the city of Cleveland. So the 15,000 people most are at or below the 200% poverty level,
Sure.
based on what the federal government guidelines are. So many of the people are definitely very much into poverty in this area. The unemployment rate is very high. Our schools, we have several schools here that are struggling, and children are struggling in the school in our schools in Mount Pleasant. And the area is, in terms of education, about 2,500 people who live here do not have a high school degree. So we're working, one of the reasons why we're working to connect people with GED and computers to help people to be better prepared for the job market. Children and seniors probably are the most vulnerable part. They make up about 41% of the people that we see here at the center, but they're the ones who are the most vulnerable in terms of being caught in deep poverty here in this community. So as you can see, this community is having some serious problems around housing. Crime is another issue, but schooling is another issue, and lack of employment is another issue. So these are the reasons why the center is here trying to support people as much as we can.
Yeah, obviously a need for it, and I think it's awesome. It started out as something as simple as perhaps feeding the hungry, and a mission of a church, a local Catholic church, and then it's kind of expanded into what it is known as today as the Thea Bowman Center. And tell us a little bit about the staffing and how many people you've got on staff, volunteer-wise. How many people make up this to kind of make this happen?
Okay, and I often say we're small but we're mighty.
Sure.
Because I do have a very small staff.
Yeah.
Of I think it's we have seven people, and actually it's more than that if I consider the people that are on contract to help us. So it's really about 10 people, and each person is responsible for a certain part of the programs that I just talked about. And our volunteer staff is pretty large, I would say. Over 600 people help us each year to get through some of the programs that we do. And I didn't mention the Saturday food hot meal program that we have every Saturday. Some of our churches, local churches, are involved with us in providing the hot meal program. And roughly about 160, 170 people every Saturday come just to eat the hot meal, which is really a fabulous meal that the churches prepare. And they make up a large part of the volunteer staff that we have, so to speak.
That's nice.
So yes, we have a pretty large volunteer contingency, which includes adults and children, young people as well.
I like it, small but mighty. And
Yes.
there's, hey,
Yes.
there is nothing wrong with that. That's us here at Living Bread Radio. We're small but mighty too, as we put up our arms and show our guns. No, but I'm really enjoying learning about this, Ella, and I think there's so much to be said for what you're doing. Again, we're talking with Ella Thomas. She is the executive director of the Thea Bowman Center in the Cleveland area, doing so much for those in need. And Ella, as we talk about Sister Thea Bowman, and as the organization is named after Thea Bowman, it's only appropriate that it is named after her, because for those who know and have heard about Sister Thea Bowman, she was always dedicated to helping others. And so talk to our listeners about that aspect and how you bring her mission into what you guys do.
And actually, the center was named for her, I think, long before I got here.
Sure.
And I've been here about 9 years now. And the center, one of the staff members here was from Mississippi and knew of Sister Thea and really suggested very strongly that the center be named for her. And so you're right. It's very appropriate that should happen, because her values, her ideals about people and loving and caring for folks just plays out in a very strong way. And I think our programming is around trying to reach people, to bring people into a right relationship, hopefully with just being a part of the center, but at the same time reaching people in the community to make them a part of what goes on here.
Yeah.
So Sister Thea, everything that she represents is so important to what we're trying to do, and trying to make it possible for people to be noticed and served and cared for and loved in many, many ways.
Beautiful and wonderfully said. And we are out of time. Ella Thomas has been our guest here on Catholic Close-Up, the executive director of the Thea Bowman Center. You can find out more information, by the way, online at theabowmancenter.org, THEA Bowmancenter.org. And I'm sure as well, Ella, you're always looking for help, whether it be monetary or physical, whatever the case may be. I'm sure that you are always encouraging others to be a part of it, to volunteer, and to be a part of the mission of the Thea Bowman Center.
Could I just say quickly,
Please.
We do have a fundraiser coming up October 6th.
Okay.
And at St. Noel in Willoughby, Ohio. It's on a Sunday afternoon, and we're going to be featuring some of the Thea Bowman characters there, but we have this program once a year, so it's coming up again on October 6th on a Sunday afternoon, and I'd like to invite any and all to come and participate with us.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
On that event.
Yeah, and it helps to
from
really
4 to 8.
Sure, goes to a good cause, and that is the name of the game. It's their annual fall benefit there. So, Ella, it's been great to talk with you,
Thank you.
and blessings to all of you who work so hard and to really do the will of Christ. I mean,
Thank you
that's
so much.
what it's all about, and I'm
Absolutely.
excited to talk to people like you. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much as well.
And that's our show for today. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Michael Roberts, and until next time, be at peace. Tune in next week as we continue to take an in-depth look at our Catholic community right here on Catholic Close-Up.
Catholic Close-Up is a production of the Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio. For an audio archive of today's program, visit livingbreadradio.com, where you can subscribe to the weekly podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week for another edition of Catholic Close-Up.